Welcome to the Bryce Eddy Show. So today my guest is my BFF, Siaka Massaquoi. We're going to hit some news. We're going to riff on whatever we want to riff on, and we are going to catch y'all up with what's happening these days. So first, brother, how are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm married to a beautiful, God-fearing woman, and I have an amazing baby who has just slept his second night straight in his crib, in his room by himself.
Nice.
By himself. We got our bed back, and yeah, I got another baby on the way. So, God's good. God is good.
God is good, but listen, man, let's expand on that. I know you have a dark cloud hanging over you that I do believe is about to be parted, about to be released,
Ah,
about to be
yeah.
disappeared by God Himself through the hands of Trump and his mighty power of the pardon. So anyway, yeah. So you're still dealing with this J6 stuff, which was
Yeah.
absurd and ludicrous to begin with. To catch up the folks who aren't familiar with you, or maybe just tuning into my show for the first time, you were arrested because you stepped foot in that building and did a quick little selfie, little phone, little like, oh wow, what is
Yeah.
this? Police told you to
Yeah.
leave. You walked out, and literally you just stepped in, and so
71 seconds. 71
yeah,
seconds.
yeah. So for those 71 seconds, you were a part of overthrowing the government. You were an insurgent. You had
Yeah.
planned all this sedition because you wanted to
Yeah.
see what the heck was going on down at the Capitol.
Yeah.
And 4 FBI agents intercepted you on the way to a Daily Wire film
Go
premiere,
back. Coming back
participating.
home.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, you are a mighty and dangerous beast. So you definitely need 4
Yeah.
FBI agents to do that rather than just a
Yeah.
phone call and a hey, Siaka, could you come down to our offices?
I mean, why would that sounds reasonable. Why would they be reasonable? Like you said, we're
Yeah.
dangerous, flip the country individuals. So they were like, we gotta pull out all the stops, get these 4 agents. Oh, and let's not forget in 2021, almost 4 years ago, at this point, they came with 15 plus agents, guns drawn, ARs pointed at me and my roommates in my house before that, and didn't charge or arrest me then.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
just
but
took
they
my
wanted
stuff.
to yeah, they wanted an iPhone though. So,
Yeah. Well, too
actually, I
bad for
think
it.
Android. I don't even think you're high
Yeah.
class for an
No,
iPhone.
no, no. Joke's
I'm
on them. It
trying to
was
get
an
you.
Android.
I've
And
been
it
trying
wasn't
to get
even the
you to get
year's
one.
Android. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I can't do it, guys. I can't go over to Apple, man. I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry.
Uh,
But no,
wonderful
they
environment. The water is warm, brother.
yeah. Well, they came, and I remember the main agent Chad Warren he said, well, it's not an arrest because we know you're a nonviolent guy. I told him not to make it an arrest, so this is just a search warrant. Mind you, I haven't gotten any of my stuff back yet. My
Yeah.
lawyer only has my cell phone. I haven't gotten my computer. I haven't even got my MAGA hat. So I hope it's signed by all the agents that's held it over the last almost 4 years now. So
Yeah, well, listen, these people, they are a arm of a tyrannical government, and we've got some good news because some things are changing as our
as we
audience
speak,
knows. And right now, yes, as we speak, the rounds of Senate confirmation hearings are going on. We had, as of the date that we're recording this, we had Pete Hegseth yesterday,
crushing it, crushing
who
it.
did a brilliant job dealing with some of the stupidest human beings to ever walk the face of the earth. Forget the stupidest human beings that have ever been politicians, but when you've got to answer questions by Macy Hirono of Hawaii, who truly is dumber than I've ever seen a human being. That is not truly incapable because of some kind of disability. She
Right.
she might truly be the dumbest person on earth. The fact that that woman is in our Senate is really honestly impossible to comprehend. So
You-
she's right now railing against Pam Bondi at the moment. I was just watching some clips of that, and she refused to meet with Pam Bondi. And
Yep.
Pam Bondi's a fiery person, and Macy is asking her the stupid question of will you be chasing Donald Trump views the AG as his own personal law firm while you be going after his political enemies. Well, hey, dummy, the Biden administration did that like no administration ever
Ever.
before, and did it on the basis of novel legal theories, stretching the law in order to try to find ways to get
Mhm.
to go against their political enemies. We actually have treasonous individuals that
Right.
actually did horrific things against the United States that are in this former administration. Well, they're terrified, man. I don't know if
Yeah.
you see some of their eyes,
Oh, yeah.
but they are terrified that it will come back upon them. Actually, them get justice visiting them. But Pam answered back to her, kind of clapped back and said, if you had just met me in your office, because you're the only one that wasn't willing to meet me. If we had just met, we could have talked a lot of this stuff through.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and he's
It's
dumb to actually, Macy Hirona is actually too dumb to have a good exchange with Pam
yeah.
Bondi.
Yeah, what we're seeing that I actually love this from Pete Hegseth yesterday to Pam Bondi today, and I know that Marco Rubio and Ratcliffe is in their hearings right now as we speak, also. But much like everything else, much like, and we'll get to the fires in LA, much like what's going on there, we're able to see now on a scale that even 4 years ago wasn't there, where it's popular in the culture now to watch governmental hearings and
Yeah.
votes.
Yeah.
Like, that is probably the most dangerous thing to these totalitarian leftists, is the fact that we're sitting here, and part of the fun part of our update is, hey, did you see the confirmation hearing over in the Senate? Like, that's
Yeah.
so great, because we get to see, to your point, from Elizabeth Warren, who doesn't know that the person she's talking to isn't a general, like, to to all these people asking wild questions. We get to see even clearer, one, they're afraid of getting back what they've done, and the fact that what they've done were actual crimes, and
Yeah.
two, like you said, these are not intelligent people. This idea of you need experience, or you listen to the professionals, or some law degree and working as an intern for the first 4 years after you're out in DC, it's getting washed away right before our eyes. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably one of the best things that ever happened to this country,
He-
is this advent of social
he-
media.
Yeah, here's what this reminds me of.
Mhm.
If you've ever watched somebody sucker punch somebody,
Yeah.
and the person that gets sucker punched absorbs it and turns around and all of a sudden rises to their full height and stature, and then it's
Yeah.
like, and the person that they sucker punched, that was expecting them to go down, that they could run away,
Right.
escape, win. Now that person is going to have to face the beat down of their life.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what it reminds me of, is all these people expected that they were going to take Trump out. And that's why they put everything into it. That's why they increasingly did more desperate and stupid things, one after another. They just kept like, okay, well, we didn't get him there. We're going to get him there. Oh, we didn't get him there. Okay, we're going to try to shoot him. Oh, we didn't get him there. And
And we
everything.
talked about this, that
Yeah.
they were keep going.
Yeah. And everything got to be more and more and more. And then now they're like, oh, you know what?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I just listened to Shift. Oh man, if you haven't listened to Adam Schiff talk and Pam Bondi, everyone listening, and Bryce, it's worth it. Pull out the popcorn, because this guy literally, not kinda, he literally wrote a fake, or wrote a script with Trump's name on it that stated what Trump said. And then when it was revealed that's not what he said at all, he goes, "Well, that's probably what he said." Then he's on
Yeah.
there now saying, can you commit that right now, with everything you see, you're not going to go after Jack Smith? You're not going to go after what's her name, Cheney? And it made me think to myself, the unmitigated gall that these guys have to come with a straight face and say these things, but at the same time, they're also they're showing their cards. They're showing that they have maybe a 8-9 offsuit in their hand, because they're going, if you say yes, we're going to pardon. If you say yes here, we're going to pardon. We want to know what you're going to do so that we can get ahead of it on a pardon standpoint, because Joe's still in office. And it's like, what is she going to say? Oh, yeah, I got evidence. We're going to get him.
Yeah,
And then Joe Biden goes, from now since 2004, you're good. And it's like, what? No, nah. Man. Schiff needs to go to jail. I'm just saying that right now. That's a whole nother thing.
That guy's criminal. I mean, he is criminal. There's no doubt. We can point to those crimes. Many of which are just lying in official proceedings. I mean, there's it runs the gamut. I mean, this is a guy who has violated constitutional rights. This is a guy who has done everything that he should not be doing. And look, they all got away with things like that with impunity. But I think again, they use you've got the useful idiots at the bottom of the scale, but then you also have the useful idiots at the top, and you've got politicians like that. I mean, there's much smarter people in politics than him, but they knew that they can get this nobody, because that's what he was. I mean, he's from the San Fernando Valley, I think.
Yep.
Something like that, right? In California.
Yeah. Which I don't know how the Armenians kept voting for a guy like that.
Yeah. I mean, he was not going to measure up to anything in his political career, because the guy has zero charisma.
Yeah.
He was pretty much at his stopping point, if not for the fact that he was willing to do these sorts of attacks, these dumb things, lie with impunity. Just, like they went to him. I mean, these are backdoor deals. This is how it's happened from the beginning of the universe. Anytime we've had politicians, you've had political, fall guys, and you've had political, little swords that they use, and they go, okay, all right, Adam, we need you, Adam. How it goes. Hey, listen, Adam, we've got a special assignment for you.
You're up.
To see you take part in bringing down Donald Trump and his administration. Here's how we'd like this to go. We've got some amazing donors that are going to back you and make sure that your campaigns go the way that they need. We're going to put a lot of money your way. We're going to take care of you. And at the end of this thing, you know what I see, Adam? I see governor in your future. And so they start to lay out this political map for him. You do this for us, we're going to win. And then, hey, it didn't work, right? It created all this headwinds. He was a part of all the, Russia stuff.
He was the face of it.
Oh, I saw it. You guys could not believe what I saw behind the scenes. If you knew what I saw behind the scenes, what'd you see behind the scenes, Adam? Can you bring that out? Oh, well, there was nothing there, but I told you there was,
Yeah.
And then, continue to repeat those narratives. Again, these are manipulated people at the political level who are not shining stars in any way that get used. And that's what we saw.
Well,
so he's going down.
And you brought up his donors, and one of those donors that the people here can look up is Ed Buck.
Oh,
people look up Ed Buck, who was
a degenerate homicidal killer of young black gay men that he would drug up in a dungeon in West Hollywood, where they would have these drug-fueled sex torture sessions.
Right.
I have multiple buddies, including one of my best friends, that had to roll on scene because he was a captain in that area. And if you know firefighters who have had to see difficult, terrible things, their gallows humor, all that sort of stuff, this is a guy who's seen, beheaded children in car wrecks and rolled on the most awful things. I've never seen him have more of a disturbing look on his face after witnessing what was in those rooms.
Seriously.
Yep. And this guy was a massive donor to to guys like Adam Schiff, to Hillary Clinton, this guy, you can look up his name, Google him and look up all of the politicians in the Democrat machine. There he is with Ed Buck. The guy is in prison now, but where he really needs to be is hell.
Oh, and trust me, he's gonna go there with a first class ticket. He deserved it, but at the end of the day, it's to point out those are the people that are surrounding our certain elected officials. And so when he's talking about like he's doing this for the right reasons, and when you say, hey, Adam, it's your turn, part of it being his turn is because he probably did something compromising earlier, much like a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people on the Epstein list. And it's like, hey,
Yeah.
just time to go to
Yeah,
work,
yeah, they control and entice. So,
Yes.
there's blackmail that gets involved, and there is some weird allegations about Schiff in the past. We don't need to go over more disgusting things, but these are not good people. They're not good human beings. And by the way, by and large, even on the Republican side, and we've talked this about this before, the people who get elevated up into political circles, it's rare to find people of great moral courage. It's
Right.
rare to find people who have uncompromising principles, and they are going there to represent the people. Our country, and politics in general, leans toward the power hungry and the people that are going to, grab power for themselves, fleece the people, of their own money, and live lavish lifestyles and get insider trading, and much like Dan Crenshaw, who's not on
Yeah.
my favorite
Oh
list.
man, that dude, he is panicking. He's panicking. What do you think they got on him? Because every time I see him now, he looks like the generic guy in a movie who like put all his money into some fake stock and it's crashing,
Yeah.
and he's gonna try to have to figure out how he can
Well,
explain it to his wife and his
yeah.
family.
Yeah, so Dan Crenshaw, chose the path to riches and wealth in the game of politics. His stock trades. I think his portfolio performed second only to Nancy Pelosi on the list. Uh,
Really?
yeah, this guy is owned by the military war industrial complex, and unfortunately, I'd love to see him turn from his path. Dan, you can turn from your path.
Well,
Um, I,
maybe only after the arrest. Who knows?
yeah, but it's sad. It's sad to watch that happen. And there's plenty of those guys that are all over the place,
Right.
that are owned by corporate interests and do their bidding. And many of them have dirt in their background. Listen, I got a lot of dirt in my background. I
Yeah,
don't
I got
care.
a I got a
Come
pile out in the backyard.
Yeah, come at me. No, but I mean, the point is that, man, we're all compromised. We all have
Right.
things that are going on, and you have to have a little bit of a, okay, yeah, all right, I've made some terrible mistakes. I've made terrible, willful decisions. I've blown it time and time again in my life. I'm flawed. I'm sinful.
Right.
Damn the torpedoes. I'm going to do what I know I need to do. And
Well,
then and then even, and that includes everybody. That includes
right.
everybody. There's people that are cleaner than others, but if you live life at any level, if you live life in business, if you do all kinds of things, none of us escape this
Well,
life, without sin.
unscathed. And the thing is, it's not the matter of you did something wrong, at least in my purview. It's how do you move after the fact? How do you move, after it happened, after no one finds out, after other people find out? Like, are you contrite? Are you asking for forgiveness, not just saying you're sorry? And I think
Yeah,
you can learn a lot from people and go, at the end of the day, I know for me, because it's been given to me freely from the Lord first, and then my wife, and then friends, and all this stuff from the stuff that I've done, is that when somebody asks for forgiveness, especially in a public setting, I know for me, I'm like, all right, well, that's it. Like, I can't really badger the person anymore because they
yeah,
actually ask.
own it.
Now, you put it on me or put it on the people at large to go, can you forgive someone who is owning what they did, or what they did, and that came to light? So to me, I look at it like that. Now when you have someone like our Adam Schiff, who's like acting like he did nothing wrong and he consistently moves like a snake, I'm like,
Yeah,
at this point,
there's
man, you get everything you deserve.
yeah, there's unrepentant lizard people, Gavin Newsom, that,
Ooh,
that will lie,
good.
bold face to the camera, will deny the very essence of reality. I
Yeah.
said the other day, that Gavin Newsom was a talented politician, and some
Oh yeah,
conservatives took issue with me. But the truth is,
he is.
when you are able to use language, to lie, to twist it, no matter what is said about you, no matter what data is out there. If you can look at that If you can look at the sky and say, well, I don't know what you're talking about. How dare you
It's
say the
yellow.
sky is blue?
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's green. Don't come at me with that stuff. Don't come at
That
me with,
misinformation.
are we really going to do that right now? We need to take care of the people of California. We need to give them what they need. And Donald Trump has been in the way. I'm going to do my best to work with the new Donald Trump administration. I'm going to work with them to get what the people of California need. None of this could have happened, under my watch without climate change. There was nothing I could do. Climate change is the great boogeyman that has got us all.
Dude, by the way, I loved your statement. I mean, your statement was so true. There was a little funny button at the end, and if anyone wants to see it, go to Super Bryce Eddy on Instagram because it's hilarious. But you know, to watch what's happened, it's a great segue to California. To watch what's happened in California and to watch the people. We have been discussing, my wife and I and some other friends, is it God's judgment? And some people, one of my friends said, look, God can remove his protection. And in that removal of protection, that in itself is the judgment. Some
Yes.
people point out, and you look in the Bible, like the Assyrians and the Babylonians were used as judgment to the Israelites. The Israelites were used as judgment to the Moabites and to the Edomites and all them. And so the way one friend of mine in Bible study, he pointed out, he goes, so God ordains leaders, right? For the people based on the people. And you and I are both, we've lived in Los Angeles area. And the things, I worked in Hollywood for a long time, some of the things that I was even a part of, from the drinking and drugging and the, indiscriminate partners, if you will, to then even darker, more nefarious things. Like, I mean, the laundry list of pedophiles at Nickelodeon, at Disney, that are not only doing this, hired and then rehired after the fact.
Yes.
So what they're doing to children, the fact California is the first state to pass a law that allows people to kill baby. You and I were both at that DuPont protest to kill babies up to 9 months in the womb. The fact that passed AB 2223, which a baby who dies in the first, 20, 26 to 27 days, no questions asked, we're all good. Like, they are moving in such a way that LA Unified had a whole year called Year of the Queer, where their focus was going to be on sexual queerness. So everything the Bible condemns, the city and the state of LA, from the leadership position, has pushed towards the people. The people turn around and keep supporting this stuff. After a while, we know God is just, and you look and you go, what do you expect? You keep voting for someone because of their first Black woman, and not because policies make sense.
Yeah, people have said online, like, this is God's judgment, like with the fires and things. Now, does God actually bring, storms and fire and natural phenomenon to judge people? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That is actually true. We can, point to that throughout biblical history. But also, he can use the consequences, the natural consequences of not doing. And, you heard me say in my video, and I've been using this term a lot lately, old problems require old solutions. We knew for hundreds of years what needed to be done in clearing brush. We knew what needed to be done in making sure that we had, water reservoirs filled and, plenty of infrastructure to deal with these things.
Right.
Plenty of capable fire department personnel and leaders, which, they went very DEI with the LA city fire leadership. I mean, what are the chances that you get 3 women for the top spots when there is almost no women in the entire department? It's completely a political decision, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have to pass over better men who are better leaders in order to put those women at the top of that organization. And so it was, completely politically manufactured.
Oh,
What happens when you don't deal with the all of the debris and
brush.
everything that is in the forest, the debris that's in the cities. What happens when you don't clean out the homeless and the crazy
Mhm.
mental health patients that many of which were caught running around lighting additional fires, or the illegal aliens that they caught that were running around So all of these things speak to decisions and policies that the government made, and it is
Right.
a single government in California. It's one party rule. There is no hope for any conservatives to really be making any of those decisions. Well, this is the natural, confluence of
Yeah. I like that.
consequences
I like that word.
that are what they're dealing with. And yes, that's God's judgment. And yes, I like what your person said is, God judges nations by giving them bad leaders too. There's like it's a multi form you know multi-form thing that it takes,
Mhm.
that could be all God's judgment. And I told somebody this morning in a meeting we had local, home builder. I said, hey, listen, get ready, because
Yep.
that more people are going to be moving here to Idaho. More people are going to be moving out of California now. And this is an important thing that people need to understand. I've been in the insurance business for many years. The insurance markets on the personal lines insurance, so that's your, home and auto and, your umbrella and all of your, personal stuff and personal properties, all of that was absolutely decimated over a series of fire seasons,
Mhm.
over a series of decisions that they made at the insurance commissioner level in order to restrict these insurance carriers from appropriately pricing these things. And
Right.
then also, there was a series of regulatory issues that were created so that it became more and more increasingly expensive to build in California because of all of the over regulation, all of the burden that it takes to go through approval process and everything like that. There are people right now that are suffering from the fires that happened years ago that have still been unable to complete the build of their homes. And so many of them just went, all right, we're out of here. Because if you think
Right.
about it, you have deductibles, you have some gaps in what it actually costs to build depending on your policy. And so maybe I think the average, you're going to get like 85% out. So
Mhm.
what are you going to do? Build a smaller structure, build something differently, suffer through. How are you going to live during that period of time? There's incredible challenges. So you're going to have a lot of young people, a lot of old people retire, take an insurance check and run to some other part of the country and
Yep.
and sell that land. And then there's going to be people, corporate wealth, big wealth that's going to come in and
Yep.
buy those
China.
communities. China, there's the whole 15-minute city thing, which actually, interestingly enough, they posted me talking about that, from Old State Saloon, several months back when I did a speech there. But they're
Oh,
they're
nice.
they're talking about, LA 2028, and
Yeah.
Newsom's already talking about, oh, we're going to reimagine this all now that we wiped everything out and the fire burned everybody out. Hey, we got a clean slate. Many of you are
Yeah.
not going to be able to afford this. We're going to get investors to come in and let's transform the city now. Forget those beautiful homes that you guys owned outright or had independently. Let's just redo it all.
The the program is called Smart LA 2028. If anyone wants to look it up, which they planned and rolled out, I think about a year ago at this point. The other side that really blows my mind about this, it seems like that is always the move of the wealthy to get rid of people out of an area is somehow comes in, right? And going back a little bit to the judgment, as I look at it, it's really interesting that where the fires took place, where it was in an area that I think is about 97% or something like that. And guys, fact check me if I'm wrong. 90-some% liberal that voted for Joe Biden and Karen Bass and Newsom. So it's happening to the people that are engaging in this. And I'd like to thank God because we were able to move out of there by September, end of August, early September. And it's only 3 months ago. And I still pray for the people my friends who are still back there dealing with this air quality that's going to be a problem for a
Oh yeah,
long time. A
it's
long
going to be
time.
brutal. It's going to be
Oh,
brutal.
yeah.
And I've got plenty of friends that have sent me pictures of their burnt out homes and
Ugh.
burned out cars and decimated. I mean, that was my community for many years. I have very many friends all over Los Angeles and many who have been wiped out. And Of course, I'm
I
saying,
mean,
hey, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for it to all go well, and then I'm also saying, hey, move to Idaho. We've got some good
yeah.
guys.
Well, one of the things too is like, thank God we moved out here when we did, because now our property values are about to go through the roof when
Yeah,
everyone
they are.
moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
know. It's like,
California had the the largest sustained exodus out of California for the last several years. They've been top
yeah,
of the list, and that's businesses and people,
yeah.
and that's not going to stop now.
And they just enacted, or a tax is going to going into play for small businesses in California. So now small businesses taxes are going up right after coming off of what we did with COVID and the shutdowns.
They're so stupid.
They are, to me, this is the modern version of how communists take over.
Yeah,
They force you out through taxes. They force you out through, I would say, negligence, because then
yeah.
things are so bad. People like you and myself go, I can't raise a kid here. I have better opportunities somewhere else. Like, I can't be in this place anymore. And now they just burnt out majority of LA's. I would say probably not majority, but a high amount of their tax base is
Mhm.
gone,
Yeah,
gone.
these were some, some wealthy neighborhoods that, this fire ran through. And again, some of these people were more mid than you think too. They've lived in
Mm,
those homes for years, they retired out, they have these things that, they can't necessarily afford to build. They're not, multi-bazillionaires. So, I mean, this is gonna put a ton of pressure on that whole area. And I keep saying they're stupid people. Yes, their ideas are very stupid. There's many of them that are purporting to be stupid, but then there's also people that, see this game for what it is, and are marching people in a particular direction, and
yep.
and take advantage of these things to do so. Whether it's, engineered by, space lasers or not. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be,
Hey,
folks. There's no evidence of that.
hey, I saw The Simpsons. We did an episode yesterday on a Holler for Freedom podcast, and The Simpsons once again did a prediction where they had the city burned to the ground, and there was this laser that seemed to be taking everything out. And the other part, and then the mayor comes up. He's like, "All right, now the time has passed for blaming the mayors for the problem that's been going on, and we will rebuild." And so they start chanting, "We will rebuild." They fast forward 6 months later, and Homer and the family's driving down the street, and he goes, "We will rebuild." Like, his voice is all like rough, and I'm thinking to
Mhm.
myself, "Look, I just saw somebody sent me something. They're like, yo, it's gonna take some of these people just to get their license in order to start to build up are going to take about
Well
120 days just
yeah,
to maybe get going."
yeah, yeah. Well, think about this too. Where are you gonna find the contractors?
Oof. Oof.
That's the other part of this that people aren't totally getting. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to build in California, and you have, big licensing requirements and all of that. And it was already tough to find great contractors. The
Right.
trade's been suffering for years with, just people, being told that college is the answer and don't learn a trade. And so it's been a, refuge of people who, it was their last resort, which is unfortunate because, who's killing it right now are the plumbers and the HVAC people and the people who
Yeah.
are skilled, who are earning $250,000 a year to build those businesses. And we forgot to tell people that those things are valuable. And so where are
Hmm.
we going to get them when you have this many houses and this many folks? Where are they going to find the competent people? And again, at best case, some of those homes, it's going to take, a year to go through a process and a couple of years to build. Well, not if you don't have the pipeline of people that can actually do the work. So
Well,
that
and you
makes
got one of the things is the Palisades. People, I think part of it don't understand unless they were there. Palisades is like, you got the up in the mountains and the hills and stuff, so you got like the rich, but the fire also went down close to the coastline. To be able to build on the coastline, the regulations are harder there than they
oh,
are
yeah.
up in the
The
hills.
coastal
So
commission is brutal.
yeah. Oh yeah. So now they sat there, and it really
Yeah. You
it,
couldn't
it
you
really
couldn't do a new
infuriates.
you couldn't do a new garage door,
Right.
unless you went through a massive gnarly process. You couldn't upgrade slight things unless you went through a massive gnarly process and
Well,
hearing with the Coastal Commission.
and you know what they've done, because it's happened to a friend of ours, actually. Remember Lars from
Mhm.
Godspeak, and God rest his soul. Um, in 2022, he contacted me. We were talking, trying to figure something out, because he had a nice property over in the valley somewhere, and in the backyard he had two kind of mini homes that he was using for Airbnb. Now, in order for him to do that, California says, well, you have to every year file, basically upkeep to say your place is doing all right for to be able to rent it, much like he's like a renter, which kind of is based on that. And you get a
Right.
number that you give to IMDb, to give to Airbnb, and then boom, you're ready to go. So this time he looked at his paperwork when he got the letter, and they're like, you've we can't renew your number. And he's like, well, what's going on? He calls them up, and this is the thing that will happen with so many people in their old homes. He calls them up. They go, well, according to this, you haven't passed the regulation. He goes, well, what do I need to do? To go, well, we need to come and see what isn't regulated first. So since they
Mhm.
passed a law at this point, everything that was built this way, they weren't going to renew
Yep.
through their corporatism, if you will, and through their lawfare. So that anyone who tried to do something after this date now had to let the people come in, look around, and go, you need $1,000 for this thing, and for 2,000 for that, another 10,000 for that. Sorry, you're going to have to pay at least 60,000 before you can give you this little number to rent out and help pay for your property before, because you're retired. You work half the time, your wife's retired. Sorry,
Yeah.
bud. Like,
It's evil.
that's
It's evil.
it's so sick. It's so sick. But again, we pray for the people. I'm hoping the money that the government gives California, hopefully, I know Joe Biden made promises, but when it comes down to Congress, that they have it with conditions, which include lowering the regulations in that area. Like, that's if they're going to speed this process up, if they're going to give money, they have to have strict conditions that will challenge the regulation that California has done to the people of that state.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, I hope, and pray for all of the people whose lives have been devastated by this. I'm so angry at
Right.
our government in California. Yeah, I mean, it's why I left. It's why I moved as much business out of there as I possibly could, and will, eventually move it all and, expand to other places that want to do business and want
Mhm.
to allow us to be free and want us to, build on our lands and thrive. California does not, and I do think that it is part of their nefarious plan, but the vast majority of the politicians are just stupid, and so they
Mhm.
think that this plan that is that has been kind of passed down or directed to them is going to just make everybody happy and prosperous,
Mhm.
and it will not.
Well, on the other side too, because I ran against Luz Rivas in my district race
Yeah.
back in 22. The other side that I noticed about a lot of these politicians, herself included, is to them, they got into the club. So a
Hmm.
lot of times people just want to be in the club regardless.
Sure.
That's what we see. And that goes both ways. I think just because of the hive mind mentality on the left, there's more over there. But
Hmm.
like, to watch people just happy to be a part of a group, that they were willing to sacrifice so many other poor and destitute, and not even that, people who just want to live their life in order to I just got to get in. So that's when you say people are stupid, they're stupid to that sense, or to me, where they don't get like what they're actually selling just to be a part of the group. They're trying to be part of the in
Exactly.
crowd,
No, well said.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, being in the club, being in the in crowd is just as dangerous as, the people that are, willfully trying
Yep.
to destroy us. The other suckers just go along.
Yep.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. Well, hey, I did want to, though, circle back to, what's happening with you, because I know the audience can pray for a either quick judge dismissal, or this promised pardon of all of the January 6 people from President Trump, and I think that all of that is going to happen one way or another for you, brother. But this judge seems like they're pushing through and pretending like they just have to. People, I don't think people understand, but a federal judge has so much ridiculous power,
Yeah.
and a federal judge presiding over this who sees the writing on the wall
Right.
that I mean, just, look at the merits of the case. I mean, it's foolish for them to have gone after you and spent any
Right.
resources, any time, any energy on this case. So that alone, any reasonable human being, anyone with real principles, anyone who looked at this, any judge on earth that isn't, a far left communist should just dismiss it anyway. But her understanding what time it is should just be like, yeah, let's just dismiss this one. But
Right.
but no, man, tell the audience. I mean, she wanted to make sure this thing kept going
Yeah.
forward.
So, and I want to start this by saying, in one of our motions, we motioned to dismiss based on selective prosecution, and in response to the plea deal the government offered me, we go, well, no, let's. How about you give me the same penalty you gave Amy Schumer during the Kavanaugh case, and you gave all those Hamas protesters $50 fine, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.
They said no. And then with all our other motions, she just recently ruled on that on the 10th, which was last Friday, right? We filed those months ago, so she just ruled no. There was a little glimmer of hope because she was going to have jury duty and offered March 17th as the day to move it back. But after Trump got elected, we filed a motion to push the case back with our judge. The judge said, based on the fact that he said he's going to pardon people, the judge was like, it's not coming from any official channels, so we can't take that. And I'm like, we're just kind of like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Well, and
So at
again,
that,
that's what I'm saying, bro. She could take anything she
of
wants and make
course,
this decision. She's got all the power in the world, but it's like, well, I can't possibly. I could just,
I mean, it's and
come on.
it's actually backing her into a corner, right? Because so then what happened was on the 10th when we met, we brought that back up, like, hey, because there was like, do we meet on the 22nd if she has jury duty, or do we push it out to March 17th? We said March 17th. The government said, no, we're ready to go. So when we asked him, we're like, look, part of pushing it out, which makes sense, is because he's just said this on CBS. He just said this on
Yeah.
MSNBC, or not MSNBC, but NBC. We just said it on like the Time magazine. He said this everywhere he's going after being elected. Here's the transcripts. Here's all the paperwork. She goes, no, like you guys brought it up before, but no, it's still not an official channel. And we're like, this guy is gonna pardon all these people, especially, and he stated over and over, especially the nonviolent crimes, which will be consistently these 4 misdemeanors that have been tossed on majority, if not about 90% of J6ers. And she's like, well, if a pardon comes, then, we don't have to see me again. And I'm thinking to myself, so we have to fly out to DC. We have to put ourselves up. We have to rent a car, get ourselves ready, sit there and go through all the process of this, just that on day one, he could be like, everyone in this category. At the very least, we don't even get to the end of the trial if it takes a day or two for it to, for it to kind of trickle down. But why I say she backed herself in her corner is because I'm like, okay, so if you're the judge presiding over this, he comes with a pardon and you keep it going.
Yeah.
They're coming in and investigating all the judges involved in J6. They're investigating all the like Pam Bondi just said it.
Yeah,
What's
let's
that?
listen. We're gonna pray for you, and that this will be resolved quickly. But I'm also gonna pray, and I have been praying for justice, because
Yes.
these people who went in this direction, who knew that this was a political witch hunt, the people who had any common sense at all and know that you cannot overthrow a government with flagpoles. You cannot overthrow the most powerful government that has ever existed with flagpoles.
Right.
So,
And here's one part that I just in general, right and left, we haven't heard consistently, that it just hit me about a couple weeks ago. If you've worked in security, right? You've done some things. If your job is to protect me, I get stabbed, much like what happened, to the Trump situation. If I get stabbed, me as the employer would turn to you, if not fire you, I would demote you, or say, like, try to be like, hey, do you know anyone else we can add to the team? So there would be a core part of the responsibility on the person who's in charge of protecting me. So for, like you said, the most powerful country in the world, why are we only talking about a handful of people with flagpoles or just their selfie cameras, but we're not talking about those responsible of actually protecting one of the most secure areas on the planet? On the planet, mind you, nothing. It's all those average people's fault.
yeah, well,
It's average broke people's fault.
Newsflash for people who follow this show, it was a psyop. It was
Yeah.
ginned up in order to have the talking points they wanted. It was
Right.
engineered. That's why they did not have the security that they needed. That's why they had the countless FBI agents, and that's going to come out even more soon because there's people that you and I both know that know, all of the FBI agents. In fact, related to some of them that were in the crowd, and
Wow.
and that person was there also and got wrapped up in this and
Yeah.
was a current federal government law enforcement employee. And as soon as his story and some of those sort of things start to be revealed alongside of the actual investigation, that is going to show how many FBI agents were actually there and what they were doing in order to
Mhm.
fan the flames of this thing, because that's what it was. So
And
anyway,
well,
we got
one
about one
last
minute.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, one last point to go back to Shift, but it has to do with January 6th. This dude had the audacity to say to Pam Bondi, "Will you not destroy evidence of the January 6th committee?"
Wait a second. This is the guy who destroyed evidence on the committee. What a fool.
Exactly.
What a fool.
Like
He
this, like
needs to be metaphorically catapulted into jet engines to test their efficacy. Uh, Metaphorically, of course. Well,
yes.
yeah. All right. So, where do we follow you, brother? Because we got a hard stop here. How do we
Yeah.
continue to bless you? Because I know, dude, you're in the mid six figures on this case, and you've had to
Yeah.
spend a lot of money, and you need the help because you come from humble
Oh
means,
yeah.
and you are not a wealthy guy that can afford hundreds of thousands of dollars for lawyers. How do we support you, man?
No, I'm trying to catch up to you, Bryce. But you guys can help me out you can go to defendsiaka.com. That's right there. That's defend SIAKA.com. A lawyer has been very magnanimous. And so we have a final bill of $22,000 left over. So we're trying to see if we can get help in order to take care of that. Again, your prayers go so far. So please continue to pray for us. You can follow me on X at Siaka_Massaquoi right there. And let's hope that on the 20th that we're all celebrating that America is back and we can move forward and get that justice that we all are looking for.
Amen. Well, I'm praying for that, brother. Hey, follow my show. We just started a YouTube channel, and we're getting some.
Uh-oh.
And YouTube cut us off and disappeared the channel in the early days. We
All
had
right.
we had about 18,000 subscribers, and they disappeared it like
Oh,
without
wow.
without explanation. It just disappeared. No note, no nothing. No, here's what you violated. So we're rebuilding it. And we believe that the tide is turning. I mean, you saw that with Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, it's because
Zuckerberg.
he started training jujitsu, and that's the quickest thing to become masculine and know what's
His
up in life.
testosterone level started going
To
up
learn
again.
to fight a little. And so anyway,
Yeah.
so he's getting after it, and I do believe that the tide is going to turn under President Trump significantly, but we are being careful about what we do and how we do it on YouTube. But it's very important to get the message out on all of these platforms, and YouTube has more eyeballs than anywhere else. So please subscribe to my channel, but also sign up for my email list, and that is
Ooh.
bryceeddy.com, because that is power for us as well. That means even if they do cut us off, we can tell you where to go afterwards. So follow us there. Follow me on Bryce on X at Bryce Eddy1, or on Instagram if you want to see the thirst traps I've been posting lately, because I'm working out now, and
Now, did you
I'm
ever
trying
stop?
I'm
Jesus
trying to get jacked now that I'm 50. So I got a bodybuilding coach. I'm having fun with it. It's been a fun little adventure. I'm
Nice.
getting buff. I'm getting buff. But anyway, yeah, I'm super Bryce Eddy on Instagram, Bryce81 on X, and sign up on bryceeddy.com for all the rest. All right, brother.
All right, my
Love you,
man.
dude.
Love
We
you,
are
bro.
out. To God be the glory.
Peace.
Hey, thank you for watching or listening to this show. If you are someone who listens to us on the podcast apps, please go to our Rumble channel. Even if you're not going to watch us there, we'd appreciate you hitting subscribe. We want to boost those numbers up and make sure that that channel continues to grow. But again, thank you so much for listening to us.